from West Virginia Public Broadcasting.
Each year, an estimated 100,000 people visit the West Virginia State Museum and Culture Center in Charleston. In an effort to inspire, educate, and enrich, the center showcases the state's history, culture, and art, and hosts a variety of festivals and other events. It's also home to West Virginia Public Broadcasting's internationally acclaimed radio show, Mountain Stage. The center is overseen by the West Virginia Division of Culture and History, which is dedicated to the preservation, protection, and promotion of the state's heritage. In addition to locating and gathering objects, documents, and other archival materials, the division identifies and cares for historically significant structures and sites around the state, forging ahead in its effort to preserve West Virginia's story.
We only have one past, and when it's gone, there's no way of recovering it. So we need to be as capable and as devoted stewards of the past as possible. The history belongs to everyone, and so we really strive to preserve it for everyone.
On a crisp November morning, Mark Bowe, native West Virginian and producer and host of cable television's Barnwood Builders, pays a visit to Camp Washington Carver at Clifftop in Fayette County.
Randall, how you doing?
The retreat's Great Lodge is the largest log structure of its kind on the planet.
Well, show me what you need me to work on. We have 3 spots.
In walking around Camp Washington Carver, there are some structural issues wrong with the building. There are some logs that need to be replaced. There are areas of concern. They've addressed the major ones where they've taken the gutters and replaced the gutters and the windows and those things. But it still needs a little love. It's got a long way to go.
It's got the grain of chestnut. Feels like chestnut. Is all of this chestnut?
It's all native, yes, native chestnut.
This is one of those places where not only is it unique structurally because it's the largest chestnut structure in the world, but why it was built and what it represents is awesome. Everything about it, the laughter and the learning that was going on inside of the walls, and the hard work and the pride it took to create those walls. It's a great building.
The Great Lodge is not the only structure here made of chestnut. The invasion of an Asian fungus, first discovered in North America in 1904, destroyed an estimated 3 to 4 billion chestnut trees in the first half of the 20th century. Timber from dying trees was used in building an assembly hall and the retreat's principal cottage used for guests and crafts. Adjacent to Babcock State Park, Camp Washington Carver occupies 83 wooded acres, owned and protected by the Public Land Corporation.
Why should we preserve places like this? They are sanctuaries. They have a history that goes with them, even with modern progress. We've got to hold on to something. I really firmly believe that if you don't have a firm foundation in the past, you don't have a foundation to build a more valuable and richer future.
In 1937, the West Virginia legislature facilitated the establishment of the nation's first 4-H camp solely for African Americans, with extension services provided by what is now West Virginia State University. In 1939, in wake of the Great Depression, the Works Progress Administration provided funding for construction of the camp as part of the federal government's efforts to provide economic relief, recovery, and reform. Civilian Conservation Corps workers constructed a road and cleared some 65 acres. Despite segregation, establishment of the camp was a community effort from the start. Local workers and WPA laborers, both black and white, erected buildings using limestone and chestnut trees. Prisoners from West Virginia State Penitentiary at Moundsville helped with doors and windows. First designated as the State Negro 4-H Camp, the facility opened in 1942. In 1947, the name was formally changed to Camp Washington Carver. In 1988, William J. L. Wallace explained that educator, author, and orator Booker T. Washington and botanist and inventor George Washington Carver together possessed what instructors hoped to instill in campers.
Here were two outstanding persons who had contributed much to the development of the education of Negroes. You see, Washington, from the point of view of becoming skilled with one's hands to earn a living and to be able to support a family through the means that were available at that time. And Carver was more interested in the development of scientific achievements and accomplishments, and certainly that lent a different sort of perspective to the whole principle.
Hundreds of youngsters participated in activities relating to vocational agriculture, soil conservation, and other disciplines. Wallace oversaw Camp Washington Carver while serving as president of West Virginia State College in the 1950s and 60s.
Those programs certainly filled the calendar of the camp. This was a great help for the young people over the state of West Virginia, because long denied were these opportunities for forming various skills and activities that are involved in camping. The recreational activities played an important role in their experience here, even some of the oldsters. It was a tremendous addition to the facilities that were available for Negro students and young people at that time. Here was a camp that was to teach the skills that would earn them places in the occupational world, and at the same time to direct their thinking to the fact that they needed to develop their reasoning powers and so on.
Camp Washington Carver also hosted the Boy and Girl Scouts of America and summer leadership and citizen programs sponsored by the American Legion, as well as church camps and other activities. In addition, the facility served as an off-campus learning center for West Virginia State College, hosting training for coal miners and home economics encampments. In the 1960s, as integration swept through West Virginia, the use of the retreat as a 4-H camp came to an end, and African American youth joined fellow 4-H campers at Jackson's Mill in Lewis County. In 1979, the West Virginia Division of Culture and History assumed responsibility for the retreat, which underwent extensive rehabilitation. Camp Washington Carver was first listed in the National Register of Historic Places in 1980, the year Governor J. Rockefeller rededicated the facility as a center for the preservation of mountain arts and culture. Each year, Camp Washington Carver attracts more than 5,000 people. Many are drawn to the annual Appalachian String Band Music Festival, begun in 1990. The week-long event, commonly referred to as Cliff Top, is one of the most popular traditional music celebrations in the East.
People from all over the United States, all over the world, many foreign countries, consider this their little paradise on the mountain.
Fiddler Bobby Taylor coordinates music competitions for the West Virginia Division of Culture and History.
We live in the fast lane now of life with cell phones, computers, and all kinds of technology. People's jobs now, mentally, the highest demand of all time. It's nice to come and chill out among nature, pure old-time traditions, make new friends, play music with special people that you admire their playing. It's like a heavenly oasis, high in the hills of wild, wonderful West Virginia.
It's been a while since Mary Shumway of Charlotte, North Carolina first brought her daughter Ruth to Cliff Top. Like many young people here, Ruth is doing her part to keep old-time music alive for future generations.
The reason we came is because she knows that this is the top fiddle competition in old-time fiddle on the East Coast, and she wanted to compete today. So we came for the music and the fellowship and the competition.
A newcomer to the festival, flatfoot dancer John G. traveled here from Southern California and likes what he sees and hears.
Everybody's friendly. That's what I mostly noticed about West Virginia, and I like it. People just seem more real over here. And the culture, I know there's history everywhere over here, and I like that. I look around and it's like time stood still. I like to preserve that.
For Hillary Burhans, the sense of community she and her family enjoy here each summer is as vital as that of Athens, Ohio, where she whips up fine cuisine.
Everyone looks after everybody else's kids. They help you out if you need to pick something up from the store you forgot. Somebody's going, they're always going to ask you if they can pick it up for you. It's just a community. It's like Brigadoon that springs up overnight. Then it goes away until next year, and you always hope that nothing's going to intervene and cause it to not be there next year. But we have faith. We know we'll be here to connect with each other.
Musician Bobby Taylor believes it's vital that such institutions as the West Virginia Division of Culture and History help communities preserve such historic sites as the Grave Creek Mound at Moundsville, Independence Hall in Wheeling, and Camp Washington Carver at Clifftop.
We feel so happy to be able to host all these wonderful people that are preserving very old traditions. I can't even begin to imagine Camp Washington Carver not being here, because it has been a holy grail of settings for all of these old-time musicians. It is responsible for people meeting each other, bands forming, wonderful historical tunes preserved, wonderful legacies kept alive, and has made a firm foundation for the future. It would be one of the saddest days ever if Camp Washington Carver was not here.
To learn more about historic preservation, visit the West Virginia Division of Culture and History on the web at wvculture.org.
From West Virginia Public Broadcasting.